All right, so okay, election year continues 2024. It's crazy. There's so many things I haven't talked about. I did a big rambling video up in the hills and mentioned a lot of things that happened in previous election cycles, especially during the primary, what the DNC did to block Bernie. But so much has now happened. It's crazy. An assassination attempt on Donald Trump. And also how the media covered that or didn't cover it. Uh, Crazy. So that's something, I could talk about that a lot. There's a lot of strange problems with the official narrative about how the shooting itself, the lone shooter on the roof that was super obvious and everyone pointed out, and they widened just so many obvious problems. So basically, it's obvious to everyone that there was, at a minimum, sort of a stand down of the Secret Service, which is commissioned to protect, the ex-president Donald Trump. And in this case, it looked like you have another January 6th, another setup, another situation where there was a on purpose stand down. And so at a minimum, I think is obvious. I'm just putting that out there. I'm saying that. Other people you can think what you want. That's crazy conspiracy, blah blah. But nope, he didn't act alone. He's probably a patsy. I think there might have been another shooter on the water tower. I think he might have been the one who grazed Trump's ear. That's just a possibility. I'm not stating that for sure. I don't know, but the nature of our media these days could be could be anything. There could have been an alien mothership came down and shot a laser beam at Trump or something. They wouldn't. They'd still try to tell us something else. So anyway, that happened though, and that is crazy. That's really crazy. That means either the steady state that opposes Trump or some other element. I can't imagine who. Some sophisticated Iranian spy network put that together? No. Russians? No. They got their hands busy elsewhere. They wouldn't do that. Uh, I don't know. It's just bizarre. But anyway, that happened. So, what else are we going to talk about? Oh, so now we're into the conventions. Okay, the Democratic big event is going off, and man, it's been kind of great. I got to admit, I got kind of lured in. Like, I really love Michelle Obama. Right, her speech is awesome. She's just awesome to listen to. Her oratory is so great. And I also, she believes what she's saying. I think the things she's saying are great, but they don't really, it's just more like a attitude is what she's got, positive, and a critique of Trump and a positive attitude about Democrats and women of color and rising through and positive for moving forward and never backward and all this kind of stuff. And so it's hard to, no one can really disagree with that. It's kind of thing like, I don't know, like, okay, love, who doesn't like love? You know what I mean? Like, no one's gonna come out and say, oh, I hate love, was kind of like one of those speeches. And Oprah's was a lot the same. Also, another great speech, though. Another great speech. So they got some great speeches on their side so far, but it's not from anybody who's running for anything or related to any policy or anything like that. That's my critique of that. There's no policy or anything. These beautiful speeches. And here comes Kamala, the actual candidate, the one we're going for, and all excited about. And here she comes, big old speech and blah, 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 big, long, great speech. And of course, it's on the identity side of things. Of course, it's very progressive, very LGBTQ, for protective, friendly, nice. Very progressive on a number of fronts. But when it comes to Israel Palestine, no. In fact, they blocked a Palestinian from who was slated, normal delegate style, going to speak. No, couldn't get near the stage. So they blocked a Palestinian from the stage. And then they didn't mention much themselves specific about that. And so scoop, check that off. Pro-Israel, not pro-Palestine. So nope, sad. And so it's more like a kind of a neocon, like a real sort of so it's like, what's the real agenda? So we have this great speechifying. It's great. It's all just like awesome empowerment for women, just women of color, just up on stage, just looking awesome. This is going great, right? But then when it comes down to like, what's it all for? What's it all about? It's about this woman who's already been the vice president for 3+ years, right? 3.5 years. And could have done these things she's talking about now. It's like, oh, now a new direction, oh, really? Are you going to change out? Are you going to take on Anthony Blinken? You're going to take on the real power, structure? No, I don't think so. I think you're going to keep making vapid speeches and going along to get along. And let's face it, that's what you're going to do. So, Kamala, that's what Kamala's going to do. So it's sad. This big build up to Kamala. So it's like, yeah. And ultimately, her policy is basically that of Dick Cheney's and Donald Rumsfeld's, you know what I mean? Like the neocons, you know what I mean? That agenda really continues. PNAC's Project for a New American Century in terms of foreign policy, which is huge. But now, it's going next level, though. It's not like we're just kind of like, okay, so let's kind of do a little regime change thing. Let's start with Iraq or something. It's not like that now. It's like, we're drone bombing civilians, who knows where. And there's Yemen. There's all these like, wow, this stuff's just going off. Palestine, there's a genocide being supported with our weapons. And that's like, wow, shouldn't that be front and center? I don't know. Like, what the heck? It's crazy that it's not. And then Ukraine, okay, so there's still no honest talk about Ukraine, even from the left, unfortunately. A lot of them are still unable to recognize that we are looking at a regime change operation starting in 2014, okay, that Yanukovych, democratically elected with sort of culturally more on the Russian side of things, won. And but no, they ousted his butt and installed this actor, right, Zelensky, okay. And so you need to start from that frame, and then they proceeded to kill a bunch of, actually death, like 14,000, dead, places like, I guess, Crimea, the Donbass region, and other areas. Russian-speaking citizens, Russian-style citizens were murdered, and that was happening, okay? Water was cut off to Crimea, I believe. Did that happen before or after Russia? Anyway, that did happen, though. They did cut, I remember they did, we're going to cut off that river that goes down to the Crimea. Anyway, a lot of things have happened, and it's like our media is just completely... Boom, dun, 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 Russia invades, just out of the blue. Wow, crazy dictator, Hitler, Putin, just out of his mind if we allow him to do this. Oh boy, it's next is Poland, and this is crazy rhetoric that just doesn't match anything Putin says or what's happening or anything, and there's no historical context. The promises that were made to Gorbachev and others, and Yeltsin in the past, about not bringing NATO into any other countries that were in former Soviet republics, okay, along or nothing more closer east, towards the Russian border there, not setting up any more bases, NATO, blah, blah, NATO, this and that, blah, blah. And so that was kind of agreed upon, you know what I mean? So yes, we are violating that. We have violated that. We've done some things that before we all got agreed on when the Russians said, hey, wouldn't that be kind of a red line, right? Wow, like imagine if I just kind of put down some like big missiles, in the Spanish state, the Mexican state right on your southern border, put a bunch of, nukes and launched hyper missiles in Chihuahua, you know what I mean? How'd you like that? You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't go at all, and but that's what we've done, and we can't seem to acknowledge that, So I don't know. I'm not on Putin's side on this. But there's got to be some context for what has happened, and then also there were deals. There were people ready to come to the table for peace, namely Putin, right? And even Zelensky. They were ready. Guess who blocked it? Okay, Britain. Britain blocked it, right? The United States and the UK, right? So we need to acknowledge that. That's really key. And so these are key things that are happening right now on the foreign policy front that are being ignored. And when you're talking about presidential politics, isn't that kind of the thing? Remember that when that was kind of like the presidential politics, he's commander in chief. The military is supposed to actually kind of be subservient to the president. The president isn't supposed to just be briefed by these steady state dudes who come in and just tell them what they're going to do. Right? That's how it's been since they murdered JFK. And basically, I think Trump, believe it or not, even though he let Mike Pompeo into his cabinet and Mnuchin and stuff, he was disappointing in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, though, he still had some independence, right? He still was acting presidential. He's kind of like wanted to do that, to be like, look, I'm acting as a president. I'm going out there and meeting with these world leaders and doing things, making decisions, and you guys are going to follow my cue, my lead. And that's one of the reasons that they've been just trying so hard to take him out. John Brennan, formerly with the CIA, torture person who loved this technique known as learned helplessness, try to just torture people for days on end. Anyway, the steady state, John Brennan, all these people, they hated Trump. And as soon as he became president, they was just sabotage from day one with, elements of the FBI, of course, Peter Strzok, or what is his name, Strzok, and his Lisa, whatever her name was. They had it in for him, and they all just kind of came together. Oh, we're going to get rid of him, and just blatantly, Adam Schiff, the Intelligence Committee, and the Vindeman brothers, they all just did their little thing, just focused on just Trump, hating Trump for all that time, trying to get rid of Trump. And so, we see this opposition that's set up there for sure. There is an oppositional framework, and the steady state hates Trump. And they've tried a lot of ways to take him out. And it's crazy. And it's just sad that there's no one with any kind of access that's talking about this in this kind of frame. They're just stuck in the frame of, oh, Trump's racist and blah, blah. They're stuck in that, which that's the puppet show. That's not the real deal. So that's not what's really going on here. Okay. Have a good one.